Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's the funky music. Play that funky music, Lloydie. How you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. How you doing?
Mate, I'm doing good. It's good to be here again, back on Oz by Drone. Thank you for filling in for the fill-in, because we had a fill-in co-host for John who agreed to do it, but I think there was a misalignment of communication and he was a no-show. So thank you for being here at short notice.
In other words, the stars were aligned against you and you got stuck with me again.
Oh, no. How do we do that?
I know. You must have ticked off the Telstra gods.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel again. Anyway, moving on. What have you been up to this week? What have you been doing?
I've been working on some software that I'm testing, and I've been working on redesigning my set once again, and just doing my vlogs, and generally being a pain in the backside to most people I see, and doing well.
That's your job in the world, and we thank you for it. Someone's got to do it. In my own case this week, I had a bit of fun with some computer repair. My wife's computer, a MacBook Pro from 2014, it needed a battery replacement. So I thought, I can do that. I'll just go and buy a battery on eBay, and the battery turned up. And then I had a look at the process for replacing it and found out that the existing battery was glued into the existing chassis. And the only way to get it out was to use solvents and pull the entire computer apart. And but I made it. So I'm pretty proud of myself. So that was part of my week this week. The second thing that I want to share with people, Dronebook has had a big facelift and update. So please do check out Dronebook. If you click on the sites section in Dronebook, that's where we put the news. And there's actually some automation now that's going and helping to find a lot of that news that goes into Dronebook. And we also use here on this show and also on Ken Heron's show. The third thing that I'm about to talk about, and iSpike I see has just mentioned this on the screen there. He said, "Did you catch the robber?" That's the third thing. So I've been robbed. My wallet was in my pocket. I was getting out of the car and it fell out right next to my car as best I can tell. And someone within 60 seconds of me leaving that car was circling my car. And I was inside at a shop and managed to get my wallet. And within an hour, they'd racked up a ridiculous amount of money on my credit cards, and I had cash in there as well. So I've got video footage of this guy, but I do want to share it at some point, but just not yet. Some point in the future, I'll share that. I want the police to have a chance to find him and convict him first. So
Right. So have you heard anything about that? Of any updates?
This much I can say. So, number one, the video footage has got a clear picture of his face that I took. Number two, he went to Coles and then he went to, actually, I shouldn't say where he went. He went to a number of retail establishments who each have footage of the same face and the same guy. And then he went somewhere else to another geographic location where they've got footage of the same face and the same guy. And then he went somewhere else and they're going and getting their footage. And then he used my Opal card, my transit card, to go and catch a train from a particular suburb into the city. So all of these things, everywhere he's gone, his face is recorded and on camera. So, yeah.
Well, he'll be on a milk carton near you someday.
Yeah. So I see that someone is saying there, I need a GPS tracker in my wallet. Yeah, I used to have one, but the thing had a bloody slow battery that lasted only a month or so, and it was really annoying. Anyway, that's another story. And yes, Lloyd was my second choice according to Thunderbird 6. Yeah.
See,
my producer's laughing at that very loudly here.
Yeah, and what the thing is what they don't know is the person putting that up is the second choice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into it anyway. It's time for the news. So starting at the top today, we've got a interesting story, and we've got three stories that I've kind of got in a group that I'm calling the X-Files. The first part of that relates to Gatwick. So let me go and press my buttons here. So was the Gatwick incident really caused by a drone? That's the question that I'd like to ask. But aside from that, the regulatory effects of the Gatwick incident are still emerging. Bad publicity based on unproven incidents widely reported as drone issues well before the investigation was completed is something that drone manufacturer DJI is actively fighting against. DJI have posted publicly in a blog the following statement, and they said, 6 months after London's Gatwick airport shut down because of reported drone sightings, there is still no publicly available independent proof that a rogue drone ever flew over the airport. But the magnitude of the response showed how unprepared many airports are to respond to a drone sighting and to protect public safety while minimising public disruption. Now, that is a very, very true statement. There's no proof there was a drone there.
Right. And if there was not a drone and it was not identified and it was flying, what is it, Greg?
Unidentified flying object.
Yes, and I know for a fact because you and I were on a review board the other night about dealing with the Area 51 and all of that, and they've already taken the aliens over there, and I know everybody's wanting to go there on the 20th of September to check it out. So that's where that Gatwick drone is in Area 51.
Yeah, look, all jokes aside, the end of the day, if there was something in the air, no one's confirmed it's a drone. And we also know that there was malicious intent from some airport employees over there because of industrial issues. Whatever it was, just don't go and say it's a drone until you know it's a drone. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Moving on from that, second story today. Again, kind of an X-Files thing. The truth is out there. So Chinese tests show results of an actual drone airplane collision. This real-life test was commissioned by the Civil Aviation Administration of China at the, and I'm going to say this as best I can, Zhangbei Experimental Base of Aviation Industry. During the experiment, a mock-up airliner cockpit was launched at high speed towards a stationary DJI Phantom drone. The test was completed twice. The first time, the drone hit the middle of the windshield. The second time, the drone collided with the side of the windshield. The results showed that the drone shattered, and it also shattered the layered safety glass, but did not go entirely through the windshield or penetrate the cockpit as many aviation professionals had feared. Even the heavy and compact battery didn't make it through the safety glass. It disintegrated upon impact. Now, we've seen this BBC footage a couple of weeks ago. Who's telling the truth?
God, as much as I hate to say this, DJI's Chinese experiment is probably closer to the truth than anything the BBC did.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw the BBC thing where they got the entire mass of the drone, pulled it apart, disintegrated it, and put it all in the center of their projectile and shot it at the aircraft. What speed was the aircraft traveling at the time? 0. Well, that's not exactly real life, is it? So at least this one, they've tried to do the right thing, move this aircraft at the speed theoretically that it'd be traveling at, have the drone stationary or close to it in a hover, and next thing you know, this is what really happens. So I'd like to see more of that where instead of using a cockpit, they can next have a section of a wing moving towards a hovering or stationary drone to have a look at that. That would be really good to have a look at.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, we had a long talk about this last week, and it's just, the laws of physics say that, if the drone, even if it's hovering, it's still got airflow around it. It's moving. The airflow will be interrupted as a plane comes past. At best, the plane will suck it in and blow it over the top or underneath. Could it cause damage to the engine? Yes, but that's not what they're saying. They're talking about it piercing the wing and just with the airflow itself. And but when you shoot a projectile at a still, a solid object, like that, it's going to penetrate.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to our next topic for the moment. While on the topic of airports and drones, this picture is designed to be used by law enforcement and or military to deal with rogue drones. The blog post where I found this new item talks about its size, comparing it to a pistol instead of the larger devices that we've seen before. But is it size that counts? Is 90% of this device just plastic in a shell as well?
That's not a pistol. And does it have a holster? That's what I want to know.
Well, we don't. Yeah, that'd be a really cool holster to have strapped onto your belt. But
it looks like something out of Star Wars.
But you know what? The interesting thing about all of this, and I wasn't planning on bringing Coldflake in for this. Our guest that's going to be in later. Let's just bring Coldflake's mic live on layer E. And Coldflake, I've got a question for you. Based on your understanding, the electronics that are inside these devices that are going to be ultimately disrupting the RF of a drone, what kind of size is that going to need to be? Is it going to need to be as big as that photo?
Well, I would say it needs to be pretty big, at least, to override the signal. And I don't know. They would probably, it looks cool, at least, the gun. But
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this in comparison, right? So an airband handheld radio is a certain size. And if you want to get a bigger rig than that, you can do that to have more power, but you don't necessarily have to have something that's like that big. I don't know. I'm just looking at this and thinking, why is it so big?
Good question. Maybe it's just a load of antennas, inside that huge gun, So and a little bit for dramatic effect, and a battery in the end.
It has a range of 0.6 miles, according to Jeff Sills, the newsman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, it's a cool looking device, but anyway, just an interesting story to look at today. I'll bring you back in a little while, Coldflake. I've got another story that I'd love to hear your thoughts on. We'll come back to that. The next one for the moment. Many of us have seen the recent video circulating of a drone with fireworks firing into a party. Many are claiming that the video is fake. But what is not fake is the call out to Los Angeles Police Department's bomb squad to investigate a drone with fireworks attached to it that was found on the roof of a high-rise building. And this is some local news footage of looking at the roof of that building. I don't think we actually see the drone there. But kind of scary that you've got someone who's strapped fireworks to the top of this, to a drone and left it on the top of a building. What are they or were they planning to do with it?
I have no clue what they were planning on doing with it.
Yeah, well, we've got a simple answer to that. Only in America.
I noticed you blame us for a lot of stuff. But you notice all the drones being shot down over the last couple of months have all been coming out of Australia, not the United States.
Possibly.
And Australia, by the way, has all that really great gun control. Need I remind you?
Okay, thanks, Grumpy. Okay, next story for today. This one, a drone with one propeller spins due to the torque effect. So if you've got a drone and it's only got one propeller, it's going to spin around. And that's why a helicopter's got another one to counteract that. So to deal with the torque effect, you need to add a matching propeller spinning in the opposite direction. But only two propellers traditionally would not be very stable if they're both pointing up. Until now, stacking two counter-rotating propellers together is an interesting way to solve the problem of stability and the torque effect at the same time.
Oh, there we go.
Where's the audio? That's not the video.
That's not
there
a
we
video.
Go. There we go.
Oh yeah. The flying
At
lampshade.
Flybotics, we do professional inspection drones with a pretty unique technology that combines the aerodynamic efficiency of conventional helicopters with the mechanical simplicity of multi-rotors. And this gives us an advantage at the level of the fly time and also the noise reduction. The innovation of Flybotics allows to fly with only 2 rotors instead of 4 in a conventional quadrotor. And we achieve this by working on an advanced control system that we have developed internally, but also a metrology system that basically measures the speed of rotation and the speed of the tilting of the blade itself. This drone is being developed for the industrial inspection use case, especially for oil and gas plants. However, this technology can also be used in other applications like public safety, law enforcement, and generally all applications where miniaturization of drones is necessary.
So yeah, really cool idea. Basically, the angle of the props is opposite. So you've got your 2 prop types, but they're sitting on top of each other. So no problems with counter rotation.
I missed something in that because I saw that the other night, and I saw it here. What is the purpose of this drone? Just to have fun?
First of all, it's an engineering kind of idea where you say, okay, how do we fix the torque effect? So you've got a propeller spinning that way, you've got another propeller spinning the opposite direction. Their blades are the opposite type of propeller, but they're on top of each other. So for a start, you're going to use half the energy of a quad because you've got 2 motors instead of 4.
Okay.
Then on top of that, normally with a twin prop kind of thing, you've got 2 props and the whole craft would swing on that axis between the 2 of them. So by putting them on top of each other, they've made it a very, very stable kind of design. They want something that can move around and do industrial kind of work. And I think it's an interesting, unique design.
And just so the Americans understand what you were saying, you weren't talking about the talking effect about it has a voice. You're talking about the torque effect, right? Because you guys don't use ours down there.
Okay.
So I had to ask 3 times.
Okay. I'll give you that one. Anyway, it's a cool drone. It's a cool design. I like the idea of it. But moving on from that story, we've got a few more. We've got lots of news in here today. The next one is talking about a drone with a laser measuring pod attached was extensively damaged when it crashed into Colwyn Bay last January while carrying out a survey. In a recent report today, the Air Accident Investigation Branch said that it climbed above its preset height limit of 30 metres, and when the remote operators tried to return it to the ground at 70 metres, it was unresponsive and then began to descend, gaining speed rapidly until it hit the ground, or in other words, it crashed. The AAIB say that the unmanned aircraft was being flown with a payload which unintentionally, according to the report, meant it was above its maximum specified weight. Procedures, they say, are going to be updated, so before any aircraft and payload is flown, that the weight is recorded to ensure it's within limits. So in simple terms here, the aircraft was struggling because it thought it was unable to maintain altitude and it was trying to keep this excessive payload up. And, you know, from that perspective, it's gone up too high. Not exactly sure, but either way, payload of that kind of size, you've got, let's look at that photo again. Can we bring that photo back? It's coming. There we go. So we've got that big LiDAR rig down below. That's quite a bit of weight down below there. And obviously the drone couldn't handle it and was trying to fight against it. But why did it fly that high? Don't know.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why it went that high. Was it like a unintentional because it was trying to rise and catch itself and then go back up a little further and then it'd catch up with itself, In other words, it's kind of like me getting up out of a chair.
Okay. I'll leave that alone.
I knew you would.
The majestic wedge-tailed eagle shown in this video was, unbeknownst to the pilot, perched atop the cliff edge as their drone approached. The eagle quickly hunted, attacked, and in 2 strikes dropped their drone from the sky. The incident happened in Australia in the Blue Mountains. The pilot believes that the attack caused one of the flight arms to collapse, causing the drone to tumble out of control to the forest floor below. After replacing all propellers, replacing one broken leg and reattaching the camera footings, this particular Mavic flew again. Yeah, so
obviously,
they claim they didn't know that the bird was there, and obviously encourage people not to go and try and have a war with a bird of that kind. But yeah, some
like
good footage.
this.
Yeah.
Not only that, they did not have Kuhnert eyeballs on there.
That's what was missing. Absolutely.
That was the cause of the whole problem right there. Kuhnert's eyeballs that he puts on his drones. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 3 more stories, and then we'll go to our guest Coldflake. We'll quickly go through these. This one is a story about a communications issue sending a flying race car soaring hundreds of feet at their launch event. Now, we don't have footage from that, but the story reads that the crew lost communication with the unmanned prototype flying car during a demonstration, but supposedly they brought it down safely. This footage is from a previous flight. Let's have a look.
What this is basically a combination of Formula One and drone racing combined in one vehicle. So it's manned multi-copter racing. It's all the good stuff that goes into mainstream drones, but we're working with military-grade components and a whole lot of custom tech that we've developed. I like to think of it as kind of like three-dimensional chess, but for racing.
It looks pretty cool, but if you have a look at the actual cockpit of these things, it's not something that I'd want to get into.
They want to touch each other. Problem with racing pilots is they tend to bump each other.
You mean people? Is that one of those would you ride it things?
That can't happen, but you can kind of simulate that in the race. So people can bump each other, and the software will protect them.
So that's obviously simulation where they're practicing and whatnot. These are not actually racing yet. They're trying to get this off the ground, pardon the pun. But I couldn't resist that one.
You think I'm bad.
But it's just looking at the cockpit, the actual vehicle itself. How are you actually going to sit in that? I don't know. That's kind of, I'll have to see some more on that one. We got 2 more stories, and the next one is an interesting one, and I do want to get Coldflake in for that one. There has been a lot of talk about DJI sending data to China. A company called Cape has recently announced that it will stop delivering services using DJI equipment based on their risk evaluation. However, Cape do not yet have a system working with other hardware manufacturers. So that's kind of scary for that company to say, hey, we're going to not use DJI, but we don't even have anything else. It's that bad that we've got to pull the plug now. I wonder what it is. What's behind the decision? Now, I'm going to bring Coldflake in just again for a couple of moments, and we'll have a little chinwag. So Coldflake, we spoke about this just a few minutes before the show went on today. What do you know, if anything, about the kind of security concerns around DJI aircraft at the moment?
Well, I can only say what we found out a couple of years ago, that they were kind of a big security risk. And it could seem that the only thing DJI have done is to put some Signio protection on their Go app, so they kind of just hide what they're doing. Because, as you said, everybody asks, nobody knows, and that is probably what the Cape have realized. So that's why they stopped,
Yeah, so rather than being open and transparent, they're trying to hide their dirty laundry of what's underneath the covers. And similar to that on the iOS app, which I've had a look at before, instead of keeping it open and transparent, they're now doing different certificate pinning to prevent someone from intercepting those SSL flows and having a look at what's in them. With enough time, you could probably defeat that. But again, what is the intent here? Why bother trying to do certificate pinning and hide what you're doing? Why not just be open about it? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, exactly. And that could lead you to the question, what kind of data they're actually, collecting. And even more important, who is on the receiving end? Is it the Chinese government? Who is it? And is it so that DJI do what they're doing because that is one of the things they have to do to be able to do what they're doing as such a big company, basically working for the Chinese government, like many other cases in other industries. And Huawei is a good example, and their network equipment is being banned in many networks. Across Europe, for instance.
And it's banned in Australia as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Look, thank you for your brief comments and insights. We'll get you back. We've got one more quick story before we go into the guest appearance of yourself today. So stick around for a second. Yeah. Let's just quickly go on. So our last story today. This video shows a drone's perspective of the now abandoned Capricorn International Resort near Yapun. Now, we don't have any audio with this video clip, and apologies for that. The original audio I couldn't use, but this is in Australia, and we've got a number of resorts on the northern part of Queensland, and this is one of the ones that was built and was previously very popular, but a number of them have been abandoned in years gone by. So some beautiful footage, and certainly if someone wants to go and invest in Australia, go and buy a resort and do it up.
Okay.
I'm glad I muted Coldflake's microphone at the moment because his phone is taking a tumble. Anyway.
Yeah, my dogs are barking, so yeah, fun times.
Yeah. Look, this is a beautiful part of Australia. It's just so sad to see that. I mean, I've seen so many abandoned videos, abandoned this, abandoned that in America. But to be fair, a lot of parts of Australia, we don't have too much abandoned infrastructure. This is one of the first times I've seen something like this, and it's a, fully fledged functioning resort. And I do encourage people who might want to have a look at this video again with a little bit more detail. We haven't got the entire clip here. Have a look at the description for this video, for this live stream, and you can click on the link to the original creator's channel and have a look at that. Really, really sad. I need the sad music playing. I've got to take a leaf out of Ken's book and get some good music.
You got to get some good music there, and sad violins playing, stuff like that.
Anyway, at this point, we'll say goodbye to the news, and it's time for.
It's good news, so there will be no news from now on. So there.
Okay, no more news today. It's the news-free zone.
I'm driving along and I'm just singing my song.
No, we're live again. I'm live again.
News-free zone.
Okay, there we go. Let's go to Coldflake. How you doing?
Hello.
I started fading that.
Well, I guess your music aren't fine at the moment, but hello, and thank you for bringing me on your show.
Yeah, I started fading that music, and midway through the fade, my wife changed the shot, and anyway.
Yeah, well.
Long story, but it's, Coldflake, how are you?
Fine, and really good, and busy as always, but I, of course, had time to appear on your show, so Yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you for a little while. You've been hard to track down and things happen in this world. And I want to thank you for making some time. So for a quick bit of background, Coldflake is the dude behind No Limit Drones. No Limit Drones is a piece of software that we've given away a couple of copies on this channel, and we're going to give away another copy today. So stick around and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But the whole background of where that all came from was from the reverse engineering and the hacking of DJI drones. So tell me about, where did it all start for you? How did you get involved?
Well, I got contacted by, a common friend, Kevin, as you know, and it was in the real beginning stages where it was just some basic flaming in a forum. We flamed each other a little bit and shit talked a little bit, and then we decided to roll it out over Skype, and we realized that we could actually work together on this. And he found out some stuff, and we worked out some stuff, and then it just escalated from there. And it was it was fun times, good old times in the summer of 2016, I guess.
Yeah, I look back and I think that a lot of things have happened in those Slack groups over the time, and all sorts of controversies and this happening and, finding out this piece of information. What's the most interesting story you could tell about some juicy information that you're happy and comfortable to talk about? Give us a juicy one.
Yeah, you see, that is the issue here. What can you be comfortable talking about, as many of these things and people are more, they prefer to go under the radar. So, but I don't know. I mean, the most juicy, it's something that has been publicized anyways. That was the security leaks that was documented back then. There was passports, and there was police identification documents of police officers and all kinds of stuff. And that was quite funny to see what DJI actually, basically leaked to everybody who bothered looking, at least,
Yeah. So just to share for the benefit of our audience, when that originally happened, DJI had all of these documents stored on some servers in Amazon, and they left the key to the front door wide open. The key was in the door. That's the easy way of explaining it, yeah?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah, so since then, a lot of things have changed, and that's, a positive thing. They have definitely improved. When I first started seeing some changes happening in the app, they stopped doing some back channels that I saw, some weird UDP traffic that was coming out of Go4. And but more recently, they've started locking it down to prevent people like us. They're trying to make it harder for people to have a look inside their app. Would you say that's an accurate assessment?
Yeah, you can easily say that. Since they have, started to use the protection system called Segneo for their mobile app on Android, that pretty much is a good attempt to lock it down so nobody can see what goes on inside the code.
Yeah.
And
and I know.
I mean, they probably have.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so they probably have more than one reason for doing it, but obviously, what they can hide is better for DJI, I guess. When we discovered the thing where it auto updated on the fly without it was visible through the app stores, and Google pulled them off for some days, I remember, and that was because they made on the air updates of the code when the app was running,
Yeah.
And who knows
so
what they're doing now?
That was
we cannot
against
check it, at least.
That was against the policy of Google and of the Apple App Store at the time, and we saw evidence of that in both apps. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that was actually quite a scandal, actually, you can say. I mean, such a big company violating the most simple, terms and conditions for using the App Store, and that was actually a little funny in a way as well.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I've had something that I've suggested on this channel before, and here's what I would love to see DJI do. If we have a look at their code overall, and we can talk about it should be open source, but DJI are going to continue to do what they do. We can't change that. But here's what I would love to see. I would love them to see them release 2 modules as open source, one being a kind of a wedge between command and control and the link back to the Go 4 or the control or whatever it is. So on the aircraft, you can put your own module in there. And then also within your DJI Go 4 or whatever it is that you're using to control it, you can have a matching piece of software there. Then you can build your own encryption. So someone from a military or a government perspective, they can lock it down and secure it any way they like. And then one more thing, in the application that runs on your phone or whatever device, same kind of thing. Allow a wedge to go in there that's going to decide what is going to go out. Make those 2 components open source and let anyone you like go and secure that software the way they like. What has someone suggested that to you, or has that ever been discussed, or what do you think of it?
I think that DJI is trying to reach out to that part of the market who would have such a demand for wedging in, as you say, military organizations, police departments, and all that stuff. There is actually a lot of scenarios where it would not be, very nice to have all their data locked in China, and so.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing for me. At the moment, they're trying to say, we've now got these aircraft that are built in the USA, so we're safe and secure. And we've got all of these things, and you've got your special version of software that's never going to talk to the outside world. But unless you wrote that yourself, unless the US military wrote that code, they still don't know what's in there. And as you quite rightly said, SecNeo and the encryption and all of this stuff that DJI is putting into their... Oh, thank you for that, Grumpy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
They're making it hard to validate that they can be trusted.
Yeah, they make it very hard to validate. And even though, if they actually, made so the software would not be logging anything or sending any data, then, for instance, in Inspire 2, there is a little module which can be connected through the mobile network. And there is code for it. And if they wanted to, and they could just have this module actually working, and they would have a data channel directly to the drone, regardless of any software. So they could basically make a virtual private network with a server at DJI and the drone, even while it's midair, if they had it connected over the mobile network, So
yeah. And to be fair, I don't want to be seen to be bagging only DJI and saying they're the worst thing. They're not. All of the different manufacturers potentially have these kind of concerns, but certainly as DJI, with 80% of the market, I think they need to take the forward step and say, hey, rather than just getting a third party to go and tick our stuff off, and to be honest, we cut so many holes in that report that they published. They need to do something different and say, here is a secure model from the ground up. You can secure it, encrypt it at both ends. You can have a virtual firewall module, for lack of a better description, that's going to decide what traffic goes out. That's the kind of thing we need to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at least, as long as you cannot protect your data, then it is a dead end for many entities to use DJI's drones. And I'm sure DJI is aware of the problem, So, for instance, when the US Army decided to not use DJI drones and for even smaller field operations and training operations and stuff, that was a pretty big blow for them, I'm sure. So
yeah,
yeah,
and especially currently we see right now this one story we talked about earlier, Cape Just to share with people, Cape, what they do, it's something similar to flythere.com, who's one of our program sponsors as well. Cape is a competitor, but they're in a different market space. They're kind of doing industrial inspection and commercial applications, remotely piloting a DJI drone. So they've got to talk to the drone. They've got their own software talking to the drone. But for them to say, we're going to stop supporting DJI, what would cause that kind of a radical decision? The only thing that makes sense to me is they must have concerns about the SDK code or something like that. But it's early days. It's a new story. We'll have to follow that one through. So let's stop talking about security. Let's start talking about No Limit drones and the software. So tell me about what No Limit drones can do for the benefit of our audience. Give a quick summary and a run through.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that depends on what drone you have, obviously. If it's, the older birds, which is not like Mavic 2 Professional and up, then it can, remove altitude and no-fly zones and enable FCC mode in C mode countries for, greater range and apply signal boost as well. And and the same goes for
Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt just for a minute, just out of curiosity? On a Phantom series drone, for example, we had the 40-channel hack that was previously done in iOS software. If you're running iOS and you want those kind of hacks, can you do that right now using No Limit drones and without using the Android APK?
Not that I'm aware of. To be honest, iOS is not our,
specialty
strongest side, and exactly. So I don't know, but I think the way they did it with iOS apps was through the config file, and that is something they have closed a while back. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I don't think it's possible anymore.
There was another way that it was done a little bit later using the JavaScript tweak files with Frida. Apologies for all the terms for those people who don't know this stuff, but we disabled in the iOS app some commands going across to do something. So how could is there a permanent duml code that can change that 40-channel hack that can do it permanently? Is that something that people have looked at?
Well, there is definitely, or most likely, a duml code which can do that, and there is duml codes for everything, turning stuff on, and with a lot of parameters you can set, and so if we would start to look there, it will be there, So, like for instance, the FCC patches and the signal boost is basically just a duml code that tells it to set max signal level at a byte value, and that's it. And then it's set. So
is that persistent yet, or does that code need to be re-executed every time?
Well, it is persistent in the way that we put in a script that actually re-executes it every time the drone starts up. Yeah. So for the user, it's persistent, but yeah.
Okay. You had a question, Grumpy.
Yeah. Because people have been putting it up here. Does this, let's see if I can find it again, because several people have asked it, but does the No Limit Drones software affect the DJI Care package, and will they no longer honor the DJI Care if you use the No Limit Drones package? Or No Limit Drones?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't affect the warranty of the drone or the care package. And actually, we have a function where you can activate the drone offline, meaning that if you buy a new drone, you can activate it and fly around with it without DJI, even though it's off the shelf. And that was a part of our anti-spy package, if you like, which was a part of the Go app as well. And so you can say that the care package then, is intact in any case. if you understand what I mean.
And just
in
to
other
be
words,
clear,
it has no effect. Yeah.
Just to be clear there, the DJI Care is a hardware extended warranty. If the hardware dies, then the hardware dies. And at the moment, even if you do something deliberate, or let me rephrase that. If you do something where you, for example, fly into the water and you drown it, it's still covered by DJI Care. So if they're covering that type of event, now I wouldn't say they're covering deliberate, accidental flying into water. If they cover that, why not no limit drones as well? So I think definitely covered.
Okay. And Drone Shots wants to know.
Point.
Drone Shots wants to know: does it work with the Inspire 1 version 2?
No, it doesn't work with the Inspire 1 at all. No.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason for that is the older model drones, for example, the Phantom 3 and earlier, and the Inspire 1, they've got a different operating system. So those are the kind of first generation.
What about the version 2, though?
No. It's still the same. It's still the same physical hardware. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
True. Mm.
I mean, it would theoretically be possible to build something for those kind of things, but the question is at what cost? So it already costs a certain amount of time and effort to do what's being done. And considering they're kind of a dead market, I don't know that it'd be worthwhile to go there.
Well, that is the problem, because there is double commands and root is easy to obtain on these devices, but it is a matter of it's worth the time, because if we do it on the more newer birds, we will make a lot of more people happy than just a smaller group who is
correct.
Yeah, that's basically it. We have to prioritize in a way.
And I saw a question. Just now from one of the guys, which was about iOS software. And this one you can kind of indirectly blame on me, because I was doing a lot of the work to have a look inside the iOS software, and I got to a roadblock. And as I mentioned before, DJI have changed some stuff. One of the things that they changed, and I don't fully understand it yet, the package format, the file package format that they use is no longer compatible with one of the tools that I use, iSign. Now, I don't know if that's something that Apple did in the way they're packaging, or if it's a bug in iSign, but I can no longer go and easily go and produce those hacked or modified apps. So Coldflake and I had previously spoke about this, and it was our intent to have a iOS app generating tool, if you like, available as part of No Limit Drones, but it's not to be at the moment until we can work out how to solve for that.
Well, quit slacking. Get busy.
Keep busy. Yeah.
Grumpy?
Well,
bite me.
Yeah.
That's my famous catchphrase, in case you didn't know it.
Yeah. So I've got one more thing I'm going to quickly... So the stuff that it can do, we started talking about that. Let's go there again. Give me the overview. What can we do with No Limit Drones? Continue. Oh, sorry for interrupting before.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I think the most significant thing we can do is remove the no-fly zones, and that is by far the most, wanted feature. That is to remove no-fly zone restrictions. Then, improved range in terms of switching to FCC mode, and for the US users, that is a feature that really doesn't make any difference because they are already FCC. But for European users like myself, it makes a huge difference because, with your Mavic 2, you can only fly, let's say, 2.5 kilometers, and then that's it in CE mode. And to be honest with you, it sucks. So FCC mode, gives the extra range. And if you add the boost mode, you can actually fly as far as you like almost, and the battery is for sure the limit if you want to bring your bird back at least, So that is the two most significant things. And altitude limitation is also something we can remove, but that is more on the older drones, as we have not entirely yet been able to deploy for the new Mavic 2s with the altitude limitation. And their security model is quite different than the older birds.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're not advocating for people to necessarily fly as high as they can or fly over the top of a runway. You know, at the end of the day, someone who wants to do these kind of things, if they can't do it on a DJI drone, they can do it with a Parrot drone or a Nuffy or whatever. There's plenty of build-it-yourself drones where you can do stupid and illegal things. But how do you kind of feel about how do you feel about the fact that some people criticize and say, well, he shouldn't be doing this? What's your thought on some of that?
Well, in my opinion, it's for my sake, I don't care, in the way that it's up to the user to be responsible, and like with so many other things in life, if you're not responsible, you get a problem, and it's not necessarily the manufacturer or the modder or who else it is who enables you to do stupid things in a way, And
I mean, if I could put it another way, and this is to give an example that our friends in the US would understand. If you had a car that you could buy that would only let you accelerate to the legal speed limit in every location where you were at, would you buy that car? And if you did buy that car, would you support a third-party app that would let you disable that? That's kind of the same.
That's, very good comparison. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of speed, going fast is something that Spike has had a lot of fun with. Spike has a copy of your app that he won here a little while back, and he's in the chat room today. He likes going fast. He went so fast that he cooked his battery. Have you got thoughts and comments on?
Well, that is for sure possible because you basically overload it too long, too much, too long. And I would like to add regarding going fast and added sport mode and stuff like that. For the Spark, it just makes a total difference. It makes the Spark very fun to fly and a real racing drone in a way, and not. Yeah, there is of course the gimbal that makes it not a racing drone, but it's very, very fun, with the added speed. But be careful with the battery. That's for sure something that can happen. And if I remember correctly, the Go app will come with warnings that the battery is overloaded. So it's be careful.
Absolutely. And I've got some questions being asked in the chat room. One from Jeff Sills, who's the person who made that video that we spoke about recently. And Jeff's asking, do you intend to release a version that will let you run it on multiple drones, kind of like an enterprise version, to allow a pricing model that will be more attractive for people that have more drones?
No, not necessarily, because that is a decision we took a while ago, that if we make these master keys, it will just, be much easier for people to redistribute those keys. And you can just ask Microsoft and how it goes for them with their licensing systems. And since we are not that many people working on no limit drones, and we do it as our primary work, we cannot afford that people is sharing these keys, and we want to keep the price down on the software, so it basically is cheap for anybody who actually spent the amount of greenbacks it costs to buy a DJI drone. So yeah, that is one of the reasons or main reasons that we don't want to make master license keys,
Well, let me ask something in between. Would you do price discounting based scheme. For example, first key is, I don't know the current price, let's say call it $50. If you buy two at the same time, you get the second one at $25 or whatever, a number. Would you consider something like that where there's no master key, but an incentive for someone to go and cover all of the drones in their fleet? Is that something that you would think about?
Yeah, we always do that, actually, already do that. So you can get a discount if you buy more keys, and basically just send us an email and ask, and yeah, we'll come up with a discount. So yeah, that's a better approach. But the thing is, we have had some drone repair shops who want to, use our software to, for instance, remove no-fly zone or add the signal boost for their customers. And to accommodate these people, we have considered to make a one-day kind of valid key, so you can enable no-fly zone and the FCC boost. And the day after, when they deliver it to the customer, the license is kind of expired. So, and then it will be much and significantly cheaper, instead of 40, 45, 49 or whatever it is. I can't remember actually at the moment. Then it will be maybe $10 instead, So that would be more fitting for these people.
Cool.
One of the questions, Greg, was will it stop communications back to China?
Yes and no. Again, depends on which drone you're using, because if you're using the older bird, you can use the NLD Go app, and in the modded Go app we have, these things are cut off. If you use the newer birds like Mavic 2, you have to use the official app, and again, who knows what goes on in that app. So unless Signal is not broken, we cannot have a look inside. So that's a question we'll have to answer later,
Yeah. Has there been much progress on the SecNeo stuff? I mean, from time to time, I'm looking in the Slack groups, and sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, it's coming, and then nothing happens. Where's that at?
Yeah, I think that is a good assumption. There is progress, but then SecNeo comes out with an update, and then it's like people go back to square one. I don't know, but I think it's not broken, and it is not only the Go app, but a lot of other apps who use SecNeo. So, I mean, if people actually found the recipe to break it, I'm sure they would not just share it,
Yeah. I'm just going to go to one of the comments in the chat room. Chris Hope says, this sounds complicated. The good thing about the No Limit Drones app is there's a lot of complication. Pretty much all of the things that app can do, you can do without buying the app if you're a geek and you want to get root access to the aircraft or mod apps, and there's instructions and there's recipes. And in fact, a lot of that stuff is sitting on a wiki site that I created, right? So you can do it yourself. The whole purpose of that particular app from No Limit Drones is you don't have to be a geek. This is the friendly point and click version of hacking your drone. I think that's a good way of describing it.
Basically, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well,
you were saying, Coldflake?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it is exactly to help people, take the technical hassle out of it. And if you just want to fly a drone, you can do it using No Limit drones. Or if you want to fiddle more around in it, then you can, study the wiki and do it yourself, basically. Except for Mavic 2, though, that is not been publicized yet, how to route the Mavic 2. But that we will do that actually at some point, but we just don't know exactly when, but we will leak to the community how it's being routed. So we just need to get some more information.
My producer just pointed to the clock here, and I realised that we've gone over time lots. It's been really good talking to you, Coldflake. I've got one more question before we finish. The existing software is kind of like generation 1. How close are you to getting to generation 2? And what will that look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So now I'm a little bit, don't promise anything too much with deadlines and stuff. But a long story short is that it is it is something we will come out with in this year at least. Let me put it that way. And we wanted the app to be able to run on all devices and not only Windows. So that is why we are kind of working on it on the side, and now it has been architectured, and we're working on it a little bit. So at some point we will simply switch over, and now No Limit Drones is 1.9.3, and we cannot keep increasing the version number, so we'll soon have to switch to version 2, so it cannot be that far away.
Okay, and will people who purchase now, will they be able to use version 2 without any additional upgrade costs? Has that been decided yet?
Yeah, most likely, because the app will basically be able to do the same, but it's just the delivery method that is changed. So yeah, that would make no reason to ask for more in that way. No, so yeah.
Okay.
But it has not been decided that yet, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Coldflake, we're getting to a point in our show where normally if we've got an American guest in, we might do something that's a little bit famous. But today we're going to do...
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stump the Yank.
Well, normally we would stump the Yank, but we don't have a Yank here today. We've got a Dane, so...
Correct.
We've got to play Stump the Dane.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Today I didn't have a chance to prepare any questions, and we'll just kill that music so the guys can hear each other. Even though it's clear for us, we need to clear it for them. There we go. Mm-hmm. So we've got Grumpy today, and he's going to ask the question today. So Grumps has some Australian friends. What's the question?
Okay, I've got 2 questions, but I'll go with the first one. Okay. Can you tell me what is a stubby holder? And I'll give you 3 choices. Is it a chair for a little short fat person? Is it a cigar holder? Or is it something that holds your beer and keeps your hands from sweating?
Yeah. A beer holder, yeah, to keep your hands from sweating. Yeah, I would say so.
It's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just like having a little bit of fun and taking some Australian slang and seeing if we can stump our guests. So that was a little bit of impromptu fun. Do you want to do one more, Grumps? You said you had 2 questions.
I've got 2.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one. All right. Yeah. The second one. When you, what does it mean? Whoop whoop in Australia? Is that the sound that a small mini drone makes? Is it out in the middle of nowhere, or is it the sound of a helicopter?
In the middle of nowhere, I would guess. Yeah.
Yes, because Ice Bike lives. He lives out whoop whoop.
Yeah. You didn't even say it right. It's not whoop whoop. It's whoop whoop.
All right. Whoop whoop. All right.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm not Australian. Give me a break. I'm a Yank. What do you expect?
Yeah. Okay, stump the Yank question from Grumpy. Thank you for that, Grumps. Coldflake, thank you for being with us. If you want to do us a favour and stay in the chat room for a little while, there's been lots of questions going back and forth about No Limit Drones. Jump in there and Coldflake will try and answer your questions, and it's a really good piece of software. Now, just to be clear, we're giving away a copy of No Limit Drones today. To enter the competition, to enter, you need to do one thing before we get to that part of the show. You need to share on a social media platform of your choice. Doesn't matter if it's Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. I would like to be using No Limit Drones with my drone and put in No Limit Drones in the mention that you put in there. So if you could do me a favor, Grumps, can you post something like that in the chat room? Doesn't have to be exact word for word, as long as you got nolimitdrones.com and I want to use it or something like that. And that's what you need to do to enter. And a little bit later, we're going to do a giveaway for that. Okay. Yep. Thanks, Coldflake. We'll catch you a little bit later and you'll go into the chat room. What we're going to do now is we're going to do, thanks. What we are going to do now is, if I can press the right button over here, ask the Oracle. We've gone way, way, way over time. I might do things a little bit out of order. We're going to go to Explore Australia today and we're going to share that video now. So here we go. This first clip comes from Matthew Reynolds, and this is of the Central Coast, and he's created that video, a drone video of the Central Coast. By the way, Coldflake, we're going to hang up from you on there because we may have someone else come in later, but definitely go into the chat. So again, everyone, just to enter the competition, all you need to do for now is post on social media platform of your choice, Facebook, Twitter, anything you like. I want to fly my DJI drone with nolimitdrones.com or something like that.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
I had to put it up twice because I put it up wrong, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our second clip today, Victorian Aerial Vision is the name of the channel. This is filmed at Jam Jerup. I haven't heard of that place before, but it sounds particularly Australian. Jam Jerup in Victoria, Australia. It's a small town located in the Bass coastline in southeast Victoria, Australia. The pilot here flew there on a beautiful winter day, which made for some amazing reflections on the water of Western Port Bay. It's a little over 2 kilometres from French Island, so he took a quick flight over there. I'm sure it was line of sight at all times. He must have been on a boat in between because you can see the drone a kilometre away. So he took a quick flight over to the island while he was piloting it from a boat in the middle, and he took some footage of the coastline of that area of that island. But look at those beautiful reflections there.
Wow, that is unbelievable footage. And he's in the chat room, by the way.
Awesome, awesome. So this is Victorian Aerial Vision is in there?
Yes, he is. Because he says, dang, I got no time for social media stuff. Victorian Aerial Images. Yeah, he...
So, Victorian, do me a favour. At the end of this, actually, Grumps, can you pass the rendezvous link? Can you chuck it in the chat?
Yeah, let me get it real quick.
Victorian Aerial Vision, if you have a moment, I'd love for you to come into the channel at the end of the show, just before we say goodbye, to quickly say hello. I absolutely love your footage. That'd be awesome. Our third clip today is from Brad Warsman. He's from... He did a trip to Kangaroo Island, which spanned 4 days and took him through one of South Australia's most iconic locations. They had some, as he describes it, unexpected, pristine weather conditions above us, he was able to gather views of Kangaroo Island that was simply stunning. Just look at that blue. My wife and producer over there is looking at it and nodding ferociously. It's beautiful colours there.
Just, yeah. And what's really good is I'm actually seeing it good from this side of the camera for a change. Looking really good.
Maybe Telstra helped out today. I don't know.
They saw my nasty note at the beginning of the show.
Could be. It's funny because yesterday my internet was absolutely rubbish and I rang them up. I kept calling them about the internet again. Maybe that worked. I don't know.
There's always hope.
There's always Chris Hope. Speaking of which, thank you, Chris, for your kind message before the show each time. It's really appreciated. He gave me a message on Discord the other day. Speaking of Discord, just a reminder, at the end of the show, I always go into Discord, and the Nightbot has put the Discord link in the channel a few times during the show. You're welcome to come and join us and say hello at the end of the show. I would particularly encourage people to join today. I want to talk about Dronebook a little bit and some of the stuff that I've been doing there, and have a look at that. I want to try and get a few more people using it, so that'd be cool.
Definitely.
Which bird is he flying? Let me have a look over here. He doesn't actually say.
But he's in the chat, so he can type it.
No, this is Brad.
Oh, okay. We moved on? Okay, my bad.
We got to Brad's video. By the way, Victorian Aerial Vision, that rendezvous link that was pasted in there before by Grumpy, click that and you can come up on the screen and say hello. We'd love to say hello to you and have a quick chat about your footage. And again, actually, I'll come back to that. Let me quickly talk about Ferg Taz. This is a clip from Arm River Falls in Tasmania. Now, Ferg Taz is one of the most prolific video creators that we have regularly featured on our channel. He does some absolutely beautiful work every single time. And again, this is from Tasmania. Brad Worsman, you're in here as well. If we've got both of you here today, that's awesome. If Victorian Aerial Vision doesn't come on, you can click the link as well, Brad. We'd just love to say hello and thank you for some of the great footage. And what I was going to say before is I would love it if you guys could all go and have a look at the description for this video. We've got links to the channels for all of our creators and all of the people that we featured today in the show. Go and click those links, check out those channels, have a look at some of the other work that they've got. Ferg Taz, for example, Brad Worsman, Victorian Aerial Vision, and Matthew Reynolds. Some really, really nice footage. Go and check out their channels and support them. That'd be good. And if you do want to share some footage with us, we'll put up our email address at the end of the show to let you know how to reach us, and you can share some footage that we can have in a future show.
Wow. It's just...
He's got the best subject matter because Tasmania is just full of these beautiful river systems and waterfalls. Wherever you go, it's a beautiful, beautiful part of Australia.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
So I hear Victorian Aerial Vision doesn't have access to a camera at the moment. You can do it on a phone. Just click the link, give it a go. If it doesn't work, so be it. But Brad Worsman, same thing goes to you. The rendezvous link that Grumpy Vlogger posted above, give that a click. Come say hello. If not today, drop us an email at the end of the show. We'd love to have you come join us another time, either of you. Getting close to the end of today's Explore Australia. Just want to thank, as always, Greg Hilton. He's the person who compiles and puts together this segment for us. He puts a lot of work into it, scouring the internet for the best clips in Australia each and every week. So thank you for that, Greg. Thank you to Jeff Sills also for the work that you put into the newsfeed. We're going to talk about the newsfeed and a few other topics related to that in Dronebook in the Discord after the show today.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, and that was this week's Explore Australia. Now we're getting to the end of the show. We've still got to give away the copy of No Limit Drones. We didn't have either of those gents come in, so perhaps another day. But let's do the giveaway now. Now, here's the way it works. Everyone that has already done that social share of some point, you're eligible to enter. If you haven't done that, sorry, you're not eligible to enter. All you need to do right now is pick a number between 1 and 100, and you can pick multiple numbers. Put them in the chat as quick as you can right now. Pick a number or lots of numbers between 1 and 100, and we're going to have a random number come up on the screen. I'll do a quick little preview of what that might look like. So there's an example of what we're going to do in a couple of moments. So that number 14, if you had typed 14 into the chat, you would be the winner. We'll take that off the screen for now. And again, everyone, type in a number or multiple numbers. I see Spike wants to win another copy. And if you do win it, Spike, I'll let you have it this time. Guys, type in some numbers. Keep going. Let's see the chat going. Thunderbird 6, 56 point. I'm surprised someone hasn't typed in pi yet. 3.141592653. 6. I'm forgetting, but we haven't had pi in there. So we've had enough numbers yet. I'm going to go and we're going to get
aerial vision. If you'll type in a number, we're going to spin. If you have posted on one of the social medias that you want to, what we put up about flying with No Limit Drones, and everybody's putting in their number.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to spin the wheel, and whoever's got the number that comes out now, that's the winner. And Mad Kiwi, you can't put in 1 to 99. Sorry. Okay. The winning number is 65. So whoever's got that number, even if they haven't typed it now, the first person who's got that number in the chat, let's go back and search for 65. No one's typed it in yet. Oh, someone's going to be very lucky. The first person to type it in now is the winner. Artco, very close, typed in 66.
Oh, yeah, so did it's Ice Spike. Nope,
Mad Kiwi. Oh, Mad Kiwi got it, did he?
Well, it depends. Ice Spike put it in 65, 65.
With a slash.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
so
Mad Kiwi.
It's either Ice Spike or Mad Kiwi. The judge's decision is final. Who do I pick?
Yeah.
I tell you what, if I had a coin here, I'd toss it. No, what I'll do, if it's Ice Spike, you can have odds and Kiwi can have even. We'll spin again just to... I'll get rid of that thing off the screen. There we go. Which one did I say? Spike can have odds, Kiwi can have even. Just because we've got both of them, let's do that. Let's spin again. We got 2 odds. So I think I said Ice Spike was odds. So if that's the one, we're going to give it to him. I'll check my video back later, but I think Ice Spike, you've got another one, which you've already got a copy of this software, and that's fine. So you can give it away on your show. So I look forward to seeing the creativity and what you do to give it away. Okay, that's all we've got there for the giveaway. What else did I have on my list? I was going to do Ask the Oracle, but we're way over time today, so we'll have to do that. Oh, here we go. iSpike said, let Kiwi have it. So Kiwi, congratulations. Hang on, there's one thing I forgot today. Where is it? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Congratulations. The Kiwis got it. Spike put in 65.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and Mad Kiwi is a nice guy.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so is Spike, too. And
Spike
that
is a
was nice
lovely
of Spike.
guy. Yeah, but
Yes.
I mean, we can't give Spike another one because he went and blew up his drone with it last time. So who knows what he'll do this time. Anyway.
Sorry.
Couple of quick community service announcements, as always, at the end of our show. Let's put that up on the screen. If you want to send an email to me, send it to upload@gregkuhnert.com. For example, if you want to share some video that you'd like to feature on the program, don't send the actual video file. Send a link to somewhere where it's stored, like a YouTube link or something. Follow us on social media. That would be really cool. And share us out there. Let other people know you're watching our show. Help us to grow. That would be cool. There's our physical address, 5/127 Princess Highway, Sylvania, New South Wales 2224. And that's about all we've got time for this week. Grumps, it's been fun having you visit in today. We did have a plan for a different co-host, but thank you for jumping in and filling in today. That was really, really appreciated.
Anytime. I told you if you need me, I'm always here. So,
yeah. And please, everyone, come over to Discord. We're going to have a chat. A lot of topics I can chat about today, but that's all for the official part of the show. It's been fun having you along. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.